A warm welcome for Brandon. Brandon.
It is awesome to hear everybody's plans for 23 and your turnaround stories. I've been in a very fortunate position that I was part of 3 big QSR brands during their turnaround cycle. You know, whether it was Wendy's when sales were down for about a decade and we had to make a snarky Twitter presence and a 4 for 4 save our lives, or Papa John's where we had all kinds of controversies that you can Google if you aren't aware of that all, or Potbelly where we got to redesign our menu and rework our pricing strategies. I feel it. I know what you guys go through. I was CMO of some really rough moments at some QSRs where all you wanted to do was see traffic. My God, did you want to see traffic? And you wanted to prove to the organization that your big plans, your big campaign you're about to launch, your repositioning, your reworking your menu is actually going to work. And what I took as one of the takeaways from all of these experiences that I had was you had to have great partners that could get you that traffic quickly, put wins on the board that ultimately led to everyone else, including your franchisees, having confidence that your plans would work. I joined GroundTruth a couple of months ago because this is one of the partners I would use to do that. Early days at Wendy's, early days at Papa John's, early days at Potbelly, to put points on the board and build confidence in the organization, I went to partners like GroundTruth and saw huge success. The reason it worked when I used GroundTruth was their approach is a little different than most of our advertising. They use real-world behavior to actually deliver ads. This is things like location and credit card information that gives you audiences that are your ideal customer. And we all know how important that is, actually targeting somebody who's going to become a long-term customer and help you get to those traffic goals you have is absolutely critical. Beyond just that, they actually can prove someone showed up, which that was a big deal for my franchisees. When I would talk about big marketing plans and throw out, TRPs and other metrics of reach, oftentimes are people actually showing, are you putting butts in seats, Brandon? And the nice thing about partners like GroundTruth, and there's others that are in the space that do this, you can actually see are people showing up, not just in the restaurant, are they showing up in the drive-thru? Are they actually showing up from my app and picking up food, which during the pandemic saved our butts at Potbelly? So I think if you're going to work with a partner to drive traffic, one thing you should probably do is vet. Are they actually someone who can build good audiences for you, but then ultimately prove did someone show up? And the technology that GroundTruth has is capable of doing that. And how does it work? So the way GroundTruth works is you actually are put into a group based on your habits. Let's say you go to Nordstrom all the time, and you're put into a luxury buyer market. Then if you're looking for someone who's going to spend more on an LTO, who is likely to go to your fast casual, you might serve ads to Nordstrom. Or you say, I want people that are driving by my store every day, by my restaurant every day, and they're just not stopping in. Maybe they're going to somewhere else for breakfast, for example. You can target the people passing your store every day. You can conquest based on the LTO that you have and who you know you're trying to steal share from with that LTO, and then serve ads through just about any screen, mobile, CTV, digital out of home. And the world is always expanding for GroundTruth. So this is not a one-trick pony where you get an audience and you're only going to see banner ads or whatever. It's all over the place, which I found huge value in my previous roles. And it's proven. We're driving visits. GroundTruth is driving visits every day. This is that luxury buyer category, 30,000 visits for Coach. Drove 800,000 visits recently for a CPG brand for Walmart. We've got cases where dozens of QSRs and retailers are driving sales every single day, proven sales. You can see if someone showed up, which is a really big deal. And then we're often finding that these omni-channel approaches prove more effective. When you include someone like a location-aware, a behavior-aware partner in a larger campaign, you see everything lift. Hooters is a good example here where they saw a 2.5 time visitation because of this omni-channel approach. And if you ask yourself, is this a one-trick pony? Am I just going to buy someone like GroundTruth? No. The reason they brought me in is I think my partners have to complement my plans. you're not going to just buy one media partner and ultimately see a lift. You're doing something bigger, odds are. You're running an LTO. You're focusing on a day part. The audiences that we're building at GroundTruth are designed to complement just that. So an example is an LTO. I would launch a pretzel bacon cheeseburger at Wendy's. Well, who am I trying to go after? Who else in this room has bacon cheeseburgers? You is who I'm trying to go after when I was at Wendy's. I'm not anymore, by the way, but I was. And I wanted to know who were their loyalists, who could I actually pull away from that competitor that's right next door to my restaurant to ultimately get people in for my LTO. Day part is another good example. Custom audiences that look at who is actually going to breakfast near your restaurants. So you can target just those folks. Or who should be going to your restaurant based on where they work or where they pass every day. Value customers, someone who is easily pulled away for value. Value is a controversial topic. We talked about it yesterday at the round table. You got to be careful how you approach this. But ultimately, if you're trying to grab a value customer, someone who is influenced by a price point, for example, you can identify those folks pretty easily by their real-world behaviors. And then pick up and delivery. Again, if you can get someone to pick up the food, order through your app and pick up, that was my most profitable customer at every restaurant I ever worked at. If you can actually target people who are likely to pick up and then in clusters and in areas that it's really easy for them to actually get the pickup, that's a big deal. So these are examples of the specific audiences that GroundTruth has built out and is finding to be extremely successful. There's a breakdown of all these in a book sitting in front of you. So if you want to see some of this stuff, get an idea of the sort of insights that GroundTruth is able to pull, or you actually want to dig into any of these specific executions. You want to see how do we pull more people for LTOs? How do we actually make a day part win for brands? How do we actually drive a value customer? How do we make sure that pickup and delivery becomes successful for you? The book will give you a little bit of an insight, but please reach out, talk to us. We have hundreds of case studies of brands that are actually today pulling people in with verified visits on the back end from some of these models. And if you've got a different strategy, and I hope you do, because these are just 4 basic strategies, custom audiences can be very easily built. When I launched loyalty at Potbelly, for example, I wanted to find the people who were in there, buying often, in my stores, but I also wanted to find Jersey Mike's folks who were buying often and using their loyalty platform to see if I could pull them over. We can build you a loyalty audience as well. So the book in front of you is a good little suggestion, but what I'd leave you with today is I found, as a CMO of major QSRs, that if I could prove people showed up, I got my franchisees on board really fast. If I could prove that traffic was actually coming in based directly on my media efforts, that I could see more budget, my CFO would understand when I ask for more money to go into a particular channel when we saw conversions. I would ask you to think about what are the efforts you're using right now to drive traffic, and if you need a partner to help out, reach out. We're very open to building some custom audiences for you. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.